Oh, haha, I was muted. All right. Good morning, guys. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Today is Wednesday, February 21st, and this is our daily live session. So starting off with the daily bias US 30, bearish, daily bias for gold, bearish, daily bias for EU, bearish. We didn't get that close above the bullish SAR that EU printed yesterday. Daily bias for the US dollar, bullish. So if you guys remember yesterday during the live session, we saw EU bounce off of this support, right? Off of this support based off of the bullish SAR that it had created. And that was a nice support and it rejected back up. So, right, remember SAR stands for basically stop and reverse, can stand for support and resistance. Looking at what we have today on US 30 on the 15-minute time frame, we have all this double. Oh, I'd turned off that indicator. Let's see this zones we have 29. So I haven't seen a SAR zone within an SAR zone in a minute. So we have that double SAR zone. We have another double SAR zone in there. Give me 1 second. We have too many zones. No, I'm not gonna draw that. 90 to this one. Um, Give me 1 second. I hate when we have so many zones. Here, let me think this through. No, I'm not gonna draw that since we have another one in here that's more, I would say this is the more optimal one. So I'm only gonna draw the optimal zones. And then we have this in order to avoid the charts being cluttered. So we have that. And then this one is still the optimal one. Okay, so based off of what US 30 is doing, that's the 15-minute. We have this one's on the 30-minute time frame. We have this zone right there. Mm, I don't like all this cluttering. We have that zone right there. I'll go ahead and delete this zone at the bottom because these two zones are the optimal zones. And then do this. So there's no rush. No need to try and catch this market open moves just yet. 4:30. So this is also a double SAR on the 30-minute time frame. Since we are selling, this is the most optimal zone. And then, okay, so looking at this, even looking here, we have a break and continuation. So there was an entry here. Again, I don't trade during New York, but hopefully you guys can see this was a break and continuation of a double SAR zone. You have the break candle, you have your continuation candle, and then you have the retest. So you'd have entered this trade. And this is always why I insist wait for the retest, because wait for the retest of your SAR zone if the trade is so overextended, because if you entered upon validation, easily got and faked out, and price would have come to full TP. So that's why you always want to wait for that retest. So that was a nice one. We had another one, test and rejection also. We have test, rejection of a double of this same SAR zone. But this was the New York Open. Again, I do not trade New York Open. I think we got burnt, or personally, I got burnt 2 weeks ago trading this opens, and you can see how close this would have come to being stopped out. But right now, on the 30-minute time frame, what was the rejection candle in the previous test and rejection entry becomes now the test candle. So now we have a test here. So this is test and rejection sell. So pending test and rejection, you have your test candle, you have your rejection candle. So this might be an entry here if price were to come back, but we need this current 30-minute candle to close. And then what we would want here, we would anticipate something like this. Now, if you guys remember, what's our new confluence? We need to look at the zones. Geez, we need to look at the zones indicator, right? Because if we're looking to sell here, if we're looking to sell around this zone, when we turn on the zones indicator, we want to see sellers sitting here. So I go ahead and turn on my zones indicator. Turning on my zones indicator, I do see sellers, right? So it is in a sell zone. However, you do see this zone where price rejected from during market open. We do have this concentration of sellers around this period. So if price comes back here, if this trade does validate, it's better to try and catch the sell up here as opposed to here. But yes, we do have some sellers, but you can also see we have some strong demand area currently where US 30 is. But anyway, we'll wait to see what how this trade closes or validates. But we're probably, if we do come back for this 30-minute entry, this might be the entry to take up here. Here where we got that rejection during market open because they picked up liquidity there. And then if we turn on the markups indicator, what we want to see, do we have any order blocks around here? So those are just some of the new confluences we came up or we started using because, I mean, we've had access to the zones and markups indicator, but I haven't been using them too much. Okay, so we don't have any order block around that zone. Interesting. Yeah, wait. No, we do. Because if it's up here, we have a 15-minute bearish and a 1-hour bullish order block. So no really order blocks that like yesterday we had a 4-hour bearish low during the trade that we won from yesterday. But right now today we really don't have any order blocks. Coming to the 50, so this is a trade we'll look out for. Also, this candle might validate like a break and continuation entry, but again, we always ask ourselves, which is the most optimal trade setup? This test and rejection is the most optimal trade setup, and that's the one I will be focusing on. We don't have any other zone up there. So this is the trade, one of the possible trades I'll be taking today. On the 15-minute time frame, we do have a test and rejection of this area right here around 38,500, which corresponds to the same area on the 30 minutes. So today looks like we might get a similar trade setup like the ones we got yesterday, because yesterday we had a 15-minute and 30-minute test and rejection setup corresponding with each other at the same price point. So this is another nice confluence for sales. So here you can see, this is your test candle in this particular zone. And this is your rejection candle, this candle that went all the way up. So here, what we would be looking at, if we're looking to sell here, what we would want to see is, let's look at our zones. Okay, we do have selling pressure here. So this is nice, but we're coming off of strong demand. And again, we didn't see any order blocks around this region. So here, the same trade setup would be based off of this zone. Personally, I don't want US 30 to come back up because I've been holding sales for like a month now with small lots, but it is what it is. But here we might get for this particular zone in there. So those are two possible trade setups for US 30 for today. We need to wait. This 15-minute candle closes in 1 minute. Again, if the trade is overextended, I'm not taking that setup. I need price to come to me first. I'm not going to chase price. You want always price to come to you instead of you trying to chase price. For gold here, we have this double SAR region that's right here. And again, let me see. Did we have no momentum sells on US 30, either on the 15-minute or 30-minute? I think I have my momentum indicator on. For gold, this was a nice momentum sell, and price, this momentum sell, you'd have waited for price to come back to the high of that candle. And then this would have gone straight to TP. So this was Or actually, you'd be out at break even because you'd have achieved a one is. So, and again, this is normally why I prefer not to trade before New York session, because most of the trades that I end up that I would have taken before New York session just come back to break even. So you can see this gold. So this was an invalid sell, momentum sell. This was a valid momentum sell because the signal candle wasn't the highest candle of the retracement. Previous candle had rejected off of an SAR level, and of course, price was below HMA level, but this trade you'd have gotten taken out at break even. Now we have there's a trade currently running on gold. So there's this, so there's two setups. This zone has given us a test and rejection entry now. And if you guys remember yesterday at 2035 area, we have a 4 hour bearish order block on gold, and at 2039 we have a daily bearish order block on gold. But here, if we mark up this zones, uh, this is a test and rejection pending. Actually, it's no longer pending because it's already validated right there. So this is the candle. So this is your test candle. This is your rejection candle. You'd, of course, the trade validated down here, but since the trade is overextended, the distance between the entry and your SAR levels is overextended. So for example, if you were to take the trade here and apply this for gold, you can see you're trading this SAR zone, the trade validated down here. So this is just a red flag because your SAR level that you're trading is like 80% of your stop loss. So that's why for me, I draw so that I know where somebody would be achieving a 1:1 risk to reward. And then what I do, I anticipate price to come to me first before giving this person a 1:1 risk to reward. Then if that's the case, we then turn on our zones indicator. So if we are looking to sell around this region, when I turn on the zones indicator, I need to see sellers sitting here. Perfect. So this is perfect. But you can see we already know we have a 2035 selling area on gold. We have a 2039 daily bearish order block, and gold has been consolidating since yesterday. So I think right now they're doing accumulation. So really, I don't think we'll see how this goes, but I don't think I'll take this trade. Let's see. If I'll take it, I'll let you guys know. But let me see something. On the 15-minute, we're bullish on gold. On 30-minute, we're bullish on gold. US 30 is the only one that's fully bearish. EU is fully bullish. So we'll see how this gold trade goes, but we do have that current one. Also, we do have a break and continuation setup that's running on gold. We have this double SAR region right here. You have a candle that broke and closed below. You have a candle that retested and closed below. So this is a trade that's currently running on gold. However, I mentioned to you guys, if you have multiple setups, go for the most optimal setup. So we have a test and rejection up here, and we have a break and continuation here. So if you do have any confluences to sell gold right now, sure, there's a current trade that's running on gold. But for me, I would rather wait for this optimal zone that hasn't been tested yet. So I would rather take the test and rejection entry rather than the break and continuation entry. Not to say that the break and continuation may not or will not go far, but it's just like a probabilities game. I just want to take the trades that I know are more probable. Also, so that's for the 15-minute. If we go to the 30-minute, 30-minute, these were perfect sell setups right here. Perfect sell momentums. You could have taken this one. You could have taken this one when it came back up here at 2031. But right now where we are, this is a double SAR. This is another double SAR 2027. No. This one is too big of a zone. So no, it's more than 10 pips. So, but this one below should be less than 10 pips. 2029.4, 2028.4. Yeah, that's a double. So currently where we are at on the 30-minute, this is I can see test rejection. So there's a current test and rejection that's running on gold on the 30-minute as well. Test and rejection sell. So here for this particular entry, of course it was overextended. The entry validated down here. but of course you ask yourself relative to where you're entering, where is the SAR zone you're trading. So somebody like me, I would rather wait for a retest. So I'd rather wait for, and actually we already got that retest. So yeah, so this trade is currently running. So yeah, I'm not gonna chase this particular trade because, and actually, if you had taken this trade, you would be at a 1:1 risk to reward. Yeah, so this trade would be at a 1:1 risk to reward. So this trade would already be at break even. So I'm not going to chase a trade that somebody else is already at break even at. However, let's see. Test rejection. So the rejection candle that gave us that setup I just marked up became the test candle. So you actually have another test and rejection setup. So test and rejection, and then the rejection candle became the test candle, and then this is the rejection candle. So there is similar setup that validated here, but of course you would want to know where would it achieve a 1:1, which is somewhere there. So the trade validated here, but of course due to overextension, not looking to take that, I would rather wait for retracement up here. So this test and rejection is based off of this two zones. No momentum sells on gold currently. Let's see what US30 is doing. Okay, so there you go. So test rejection, right? Trade validated down here, but the SARs we are trading are all the way up here. So here, what you want, let's do the same markup, right? We want to know if there's somebody who's hopped into this trade and they don't care about overextension, when would they be achieving break even? So that's the point right there. So what we want here is for price to come back and tap us in, and then we write price back down. And then this one on the 30-minute is pending. So we already finished gold. EU, we have a double SAR here on the 15 minutes. EU, we didn't have any zones yesterday, but today, overnight, it created some zones. So this is nice. EU. And again, I'm not looking to be trading EU so much because it just moves a little too slow for my liking. So there's no test and rejection here because both of these candles opened inside that zone. So we would have to wait for a new setup to be created on this 30-minute time frame, and also no momentum sells, no valid momentum sells that we can trade. Here we have this double SAR zone. There's no setup that's currently there. Break continuation. Nah, I'm not taking that. On the hourly time frame for US30, hourly time frame for US30. No double SAR there. This is 64. Nothing for US30 on the hourly. For EU, this is a 4-hour zone because it's in red, so never mind about that. On the hourly time frame, there's nothing. I'm sorry, on gold. There's nothing. Let's see. Break continuation. No. For EU that we have here, there's nothing. We had a test and rejection here for EU, test rejection. Price would have tapped. So if you guys can see this 1-hour candle, tested the double SAR zone, and this is your rejection candle. Of course, price was overextended. Trade validated down here. But of course, you wouldn't have taken that due to overextension. You would have waited for price to retrace to this zone. So technically, there's an hourly sell on EU going based off of this test and rejection. But what I want to see here, if we turn on our zones indicator, we want to see sellers sitting here. So we do have some sellers that are sitting here. Let's look at the order blocks as well, see if we have any order blocks. We have a 4-hour bearish low here. We have a 4-hour bullish low. So this one for EU, this might be a potential trade I might be looking to take today. We also have an hourly bullish order block here. Let's see. Let's sit on EU for now. Just hold off on that because there's definitely a sell going. But I want to see the best area to take it. But let's just hold off on EU for now and just make sure we either get US 30, because we definitely have setups for US 30. We have setups for gold. So I really don't want to waste setups, especially with EU, since it's a slow moving instrument. So that's the hourly. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. So I'm not in this EU trade. I'm just observing it. Also, if we look at the zones, the most optimal selling area may be here. Maybe if it comes back here, I may look to take it, but I would want my stop loss to be somewhere above here. But let's just observe and see how EU goes for the next 30 or so minutes. Let's move on to the 4-hour time frame. 4-hour time frame. There's nothing for US 30. No momentum as well. This is a valid, on the 4-hour time frame, this is a valid momentum sell for gold, but this trade will validate at 1 p.m. So it will either validate or invalidate at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because this sell, if it does close as a momentum sell, that would be a valid one. And you just wait for price to come back to the high of that candle, and you then sell US 30, I'm sorry, gold at that point. But that's in like 3 hours. For the 4-hour time frame here, even here on the 4-hour time frame, this was a break and continuation trade. So if you guys can see on the 4-hour time frame, break and then continuation. So this one trade would have gotten tapped in, came back and retested exactly the SAR zone, and this trade you'd be ideally like this trade you'd actually be at break even. But of course this trade validated at what, 9 a.m. So before New York, but you'd already be at break even. And if you turn on the zones indicator, actually, yeah. And this trade, I actually would not have taken it. So if you guys remember yesterday, when we went over the zones indicator, right? We talked about, if you turn on the zones indicator, if you're looking to sell, you want to see sellers sitting in that region. If you're looking to buy, you want to see buyers sitting in that region. Now, for example, this trade, yes, it was a valid SAR trade, but if you turn on the zones indicator, and this was on the 4-hour, right? I'm pretty sure on the lower time frame you have some sellers, but on the 4-hour time frame we didn't have sellers sitting here. This is just an SAR zone, because if I turn this on and off, you'll see buyers are sitting down here and sellers are sitting above 2031. So given what we'd talked about yesterday, maybe going down to a lower time frame to see if there are sellers, but if you're plainly looking on if we have buyers and sellers here on the I'm sorry, on the 4-hour time frame, we really did not have any. So maybe the fix would have been going to the lower time frame, because remember, especially with supply and demand, the higher the time frame you go, the wider the distance between buyers and sellers. So for example, if you go to the 1-minute time frame, you'll see a lot of buyers and sellers, they're not too far apart from each other. But if you start going like to the 4-hour time frame, to the daily time frame, you'll start seeing the distance between buyers and sellers increasing. So it's something to think about going forward. Like in the 4-hour time frame, if you don't see any buyers or sellers sitting around your SAR, right, are you going to take that trade or not? So it's just something to think about and even to forward test going forward. But right now in the 4-hour time frame, this trade already validated, and you would be at break even, and you would be at a 1:1 risk to reward with barely any drawdown. So right now on the 4-hour time frame, unless we do have a test and rejection, but again, we know it will validate in 3 hours. This momentum entry would also validate in 3 hours. For the 4-hour entry for EU, we don't have any trade setups for EU on the 4 hours. So we'll go back here and watch this 1-hour entry on EU. So currently I can tell you EU is fully bullish on 15-minute and 30-minute. Because if we go here, you can see all the candles are green, whether it's on the 15-minute or the 30-minute. If we go back for gold, nothing. US 30 still nothing. So this is just a matter of waiting. So we'll watch what's happening with both US 30 and EU. And I think I forgot to analyze this. Yeah. So this is the momentum. This is the momentum indicator. So let's see if we have any momentum trades for today for these three instruments. So EU on the hourly, no valid momentum buy that I can see, no valid momentum sell. This momentum sell is invalid. This right here is the only valid momentum sell. So let's see where this momentum sell is at. This momentum sell is at 1.08298. So if you guys remember on EU, when we turned this on, where did I say would be a better place? 29 around this zone, right? 298 corresponds to somewhere around here, or maybe this zone right here. So EU, maybe this, because keep in mind, this momentum sell has not been mitigated. So if EU comes to 1.08298, we might expect some closure back down. But keep in mind also on the daily time frame using our daily bias, 298 is above our daily bullish zone. So if EU closes above here, we might get a spike to the upside. So this might be a risky sell on EU as much as it's a momentum sell, but that's the only one I can see on EU. But the other thing, it does correspond to what we are looking at here, these supply zones within supply zones that we were looking at. So I would rather wait for the momentum sell rather than take a sell on EU right now. So I would rather wait for that momentum sell. So I'll go ahead and delete that markup on the hourly. On the 4-hour time frame for EU, you can see we're having higher highs and we're in an uptrend. No valid momentum buy that I can see, and no valid momentum sell that I can see currently on EU. Let's move on to gold. Gold, no valid momentum buy on the 4-hour. This momentum, we already talked about it. If this closes in the next 3 hours as a momentum sell, this will be a valid momentum sell, but we'll have to wait for 3 hours for that to either validate or invalidate. On the 1-hour time frame, no valid momentum buy. That's here. No valid momentum sell. This is invalid. This is invalid. This one was valid-ish. Yeah, this one was valid and liquidity got taken out and price melted. So nothing on gold. For US 30, for the momentum entries, for the momentum entries on US 30, this one was actually a valid momentum buy. But when price, yes, this was a valid momentum buy, but when price came back to this zone, this trade you'd have gotten stopped out for US 30. And this happened Wednesday at 4. Oh, so this happened during market closure, during power hour yesterday. So I don't even trade, I don't trade past 3 p.m. Eastern time. But this was a valid momentum buy, but you'd have gotten stopped out. No valid momentum buy on the 1 hour, no other valid momentum buy. No valid momentum sell on the hourly. When we go to the 4-hour time frame, this buy is invalid and no valid momentum sell. So for today, you can put it on your charts, like to look at gold at 1 p.m. to see how that 4-hour candle closes. If the 4-hour candle closes as bearish, then that would be a momentum. You'd wait for gold to retrace to the high of the current 4-hour candle to sell gold. So let's see if we'll get this US 30 trade for today. And let's see which one we'll take. So we have a 30-minute. So this is no longer pending. So this is outright test and rejection because the candle closed below. So that's your test candle. That's your rejection candle. Same thing for US 30 here. This is your test candle. This is your rejection candle. So we take the word pending out of this. So we have both a 15-minute and a 30-minute. So I would rather take the 30-minute time frame or the 30-minute entry because higher time frames have more confluence, or the higher the time frame, the higher the confluence. Also keep in mind, see what I drew here on the 30? You really don't want to enter here just as of yet. I would rather enter this US 30 sell here as opposed to here. Because keep in mind, what the zones indicator is telling us this is where they're likely to go and pick up liquidity from. So if you guys remember, most of the times when even though we take losses, sometimes some of the losses we take, is normally just a fake out. So we are rarely wrong about the direction an instrument is going. So if we know like US 30 is most likely going to be bearish, even though we got stopped out of the trade, like maybe 30 minutes or an hour later, US 30 reverses and goes bearish or bullish or vice versa. So the zones indicator, the purpose of that is to show us, okay, as much as the SAR entry is valid, where would they be going? Where are they likely to go up and pick up that liquidity? So here we can see, yes, even though we are looking to sell or our SAR region is here, and even though we have sellers here, there's this small region up here that's only like 40 pips away, or that's ideally the size of our stop loss that they can come pick up liquidity from and melt back down. So knowing that, I'm not going to sell US 30 here. I would want to sell it up here. So that's on the 30-minute time frame. On the 15-minute time frame, we don't have that. On the 15-minute time frame, we just have sellers that are sitting here. But you can see we have a big bullish zone right here that was created by this candle, this huge candle that happened during market open. So I would rather wait. So I would rather wait for US 30 to go back up here in order to sell as opposed to selling just here. But if you do have any confluence that shows you that 38,490 is a good area to sell US 30, feel free to jump in. Again, you don't have to take every trade that I do. My work is just to give you guys analysis. And if I do see things or trades that make sense to me, then I will take those. But if I do see a red flag in a trade, I don't take any trades that have a red flag, because that also contributes to your trading psychology. Because if you take a loss and you knew that there's something you could have done to avoid that loss, then sometimes you beat yourself over it. So I would rather lose a trade that I know that I did my best to have avoided any fake out or getting stopped out. If I lose such a trade, I don't feel bad. But if I take a trade and I knew there's something I could have done to avoid a loss, then I would feel bad about it. So let's just wait and see. So personally looking to sell US 30 at that particular zone that I've marked up. That is 38,524. So that's my optimal zone to sell US 30. If US 30 comes back to my SAR zone and melts immediately, then well and good. I'm not going to feel bad because I know there's a reason I have all these confluences right here. Gold is just melting to the downside. So it might come to this zone first before coming back up again, which is fine. If we do catch this trade and win it, personally, I'll be up, like I would be up 2%. And you guys, if you're using 0.75, you'd be up like 1.5. So let's just wait and see how this US 30 trade will come up. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to unmute and ask. See, I need to reply to something here. So just wait on it to come up to you. Where did it go? All right, there it goes. So we need that push up. So this push up is good. And I think also if you look on the hourly time frame, we do have a downtrend on US 30. And want to say it's corresponding. Let me draw this trend line. 38,000. So let's go to the hourly real quick on US 30 and draw that trend line. So if let's turn off this indicator for now. Let's draw this trend line that's right here. My trend line on MT4 looks different, but something like that. So this zone, the test of this trend line and our entry out here, 524, looks to be lined up because remember 524, that's the area I'm looking to sell US 30. So if we are to maintain this down channel or this trending channel, I don't like cutting into candles so much. If we're to maintain this, this is around 524 area. So that area I'm looking to sell also because I'm looking at my MT4 and I can definitely see that downtrend on US 30. So there it is. So you can see here, right? If we would have taken the trade on the retest of that, we would have been in drawdown automatically, right? So we want here 524. This is why we have that zones indicator. So just hold a little more. But if you guys have any other confluences, right, don't let me hold you back. There's nothing that says that US 30 has to come all the way to the top. So keep in mind, I'm looking to do the 30-minute entry. So I need US 30 to get here. We just need that pump. That's nice. See, give me 1 second. They're picking up the hourly bullish order block. 4 hour. No, I don't think they'll go back to the bearish low. That's fine. All right. So we needed to go back up. So I'm still not in the trade waiting. So let it just push up. All right. All right. Come on, come on. So you can see the difference, right? The difference between entries. So we are trying to get that supply zone in there. That's what we're trying to get. This little zone in here. So anywhere in there, that's where looking to catch the sell. All right, there it is. Come on, come on. Five 12. Just a little more. One. Um, let's see what we have here on the 15 minute. I think the 15 minute is the one that had the big green zone. So as much as we have those zones on the 15, no. Gold is coming back up as well. Mm, we might be dropping from here, but let's see. Just need one more push up. Um, do, do, do. Um, yeah, not sure we're going to get because we're having some rejection here unless we get a nice quick push to the upside. So not in this 15-minute trade. So let me move that away because I'm looking to take the 30-minute. But hoping we get because it looks like it might start melting back to the downside now. Um, mm, mm. All right, let's just wait and see. But yeah, if you guys have any confluences, you don't have to wait for me mm, to go through that. Mm, mm. Oh, Davis. Cool. All right. So you can see we have that selling pressure here that's still trying to hold, but again, still need US 30 to come back a little bit up. I think we're going to get it based off of the way it looks, but we might have that one of those huge sell candles that just go back down. Oh. Mm. All right, come on, come on. Mm. See, market is just slow right now. When we do take this trade, I'll be calling it a day, or I'll be calling it a day for the live session. Gold looks like I don't know if anybody gold came close to entry around entry zone. Um, I'll stick. I just want to first catch this US 31. So my trades for today will probably be the gold, maybe that gold trade. EU, I think we talked about what 298. Also EU, I'm not really this the red flag is this bullish, this daily bullish area. Um, this green zone. It doesn't have to close above it, but I really don't want to trade next to this zone because the daily candle can easily close above here. And our entry or the entry I identified 1.08298 is above there. So I think I'll probably take the gold trade. Um, Either this gold trade and the US 30 trade. Those will probably be my two trades of the day. Um, but let me see. I want to see. Hopefully, we can get filled into this trade before I call it a day on the live session. Let's see. Um, number 14. Yeah, we might not get, they might just drop price from here. I'm not sure that price will really get there. Um, Not too sure because you can see the selling pressure that's stepping in, right? Currently. So not sure that we'll get this entry we're looking for. Because this is almost similar to like that trade we took yesterday when we caught the high and price just was struggling back and forth. And eventually we had that dip, right? That huge bearish candle like after the live session that went straight to TP. So yeah, I don't probably not going to get that. Gold is also rejecting back to the downside. So gold would have been, it was two, yeah, this one, if I had seen this, I would have taken it, but you'd be like 20 pips in profit or something. If US 30 does like a 50 pip drop from here, I'm just going to discount this trade. I'm not going to look to enter it. The distance wasn't that bad. It was like a 10 pip distance, not too bad. But yeah, if it drops 50 pips from here, I'll just call it a day for the live session because at this point, I don't think it's going to come back up. So if it gets to this point, I'll just call it a day because if it gets to this point, so keep in mind we also have this zone, this selling zone that's right here, right? The one they were unable to break past this one. So we already have a strong selling zone there. So yeah, if it gets here, I doubt they will bring it. Now, the other beauty of it, if it gets to this zone, it it would be forming another test and rejection, right? So you can see the rejection candle becomes the test candle, and this candle they're trying to close below that zone. But unfortunately, that's not an SAR zone, right? So it's not like a test and rejection entry you'd be looking to take. It's just like a supply zone. But if they close below this supply zone, then probably it will just keep going to the downside. Where is that markup that I had? I think somewhere here. Yeah, so if we get here before it comes back up, I'll just call it a day for the live session and maybe look to take something else during the day. I'll probably not trade anymore today, but we'll see. Hopefully we get a spike to the upside, but I think they'll bring that heavy bearish candle currently. Yeah, this is where they'll probably melt it from here. See. Yeah, so it's already gotten to like a 1:1 or where like a 50 pip drop. So this wasn't too far, but I wanted it to get to that zone that I was looking at. So at this point, I'm not gonna wait for it to come back up. This would have been, yes, maybe a nice place, but I just wanted to get to that particular zone. So all of these zones that we were looking at, so let's review this real quick. So for today, we had that test and rejection entry. The zone, so didn't give this person a 1:1. So of course, this one would have been stopped out, more or faked out. So again, remember you always wait for price to come back to your zone on the 15-minute time frame. So here, the reason we didn't take this is because of that bullish, huge bullish candle in here. If we didn't have this bullish zone, this demand zone in here, I would have probably taken the 15-minute entry. But to me, the red flag was that bullish zone. I don't really have any FOMO from it, so it is what it is. But yeah, this one would have probably the trade would have been running. But at this point, just waiting for a new trade setup. You might get another test and rejection entry based off of the same zone. So all is not lost, right? Because even here, we are roping up for a new, actually, it's not new. There's a test and rejection setup that has just validated, and this would be, so in the same zone, right? So that zone is critical. So of course it validated here, but would have been overextended. Red flag would have been overextension. So you want to wait for price to come back here and do something like this before giving this person a 1:1 risk to reward. And this is a test and rejection setup that's based off of here. We still have that green zone, but now that we can see there's selling pressure here, then I would be more inclined to take the trade if it does come back there. But right now, so I'll just mark this up. So this is probably a trade I'll take because I'm not looking to take the same trades that I've marked up. Currently here, let's see what we have. We have a possible test and rejection of this zone that's now here. So we might get such a trade setup. So forget the first one. So we might get this one. Actually, wait, test and rejection. Never mind. There's a test and rejection that's, let me see if we can get this. There's a test and rejection that's currently going on right now. So if we can get rejection into the same zone we wanted to trade in before, right? This zone that we would have traded in, but of course, remember, would have had that drawdown or whatnot. But remember, now that we've seen there's a lot of selling pressure in this zone we have, and even if we turn on the zones indicator, we still have some selling pressure. At least we know there's a lot of selling pressure there. So if we get price retracing back to this zone, then I would be inclined to take that trade because I already know there's a lot of selling pressure. So test and rejection. So this is your test candle, this is your rejection candle. So I'll stay on for about 15 or so more minutes. But of course, if price gets to the bottom of this blue arrows, anybody who had taken these trades on impulse would be at a 1:1 risk to reward. And there's no need for me to chase a trade that somebody would be at break even at. So it goes back to show, right? We are not normally that wrong. Sometimes we might miss the trade, or I might miss the trade just by being a little bit extra cautious and waiting for that slight push. But other than that, so that's the death candle that I was talking about. So remember when I said that huge push and pull they had up there, and this is exactly what happened yesterday, right? We had that huge bearish candle that went to our take profit. So that is to be expected. So if this two trades reach the bottom of this blue arrow first before coming back to where we want to enter them or where I want to enter, that will be it for the live session. And I don't think I'll even be taking any further trades for today. We'll probably just wait for tomorrow, or wait for that gold trade at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Which it does seem that we're gonna get to that 1:1 risk to reward beforehand. Uh, Um, let's see. Man, this is taking too long. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to multitask a little bit. I'm doing some other stuff. Uh, you need retracement back to that zone. Hmm. Oh, come on. Let's see. So this did not get here. Man, um, what was the hourly? The hourly was based off of test rejection. 28.5. Man, at this point, I think I'll just call it a day because this thing is not coming back as quickly as I would have expected. So maybe if it does come back up, I'll send the trade in the Discord if I'll be taking it based off of what I'll see in the market. But right now, for today, currently no trade for the day. Price just went down so fast and hadn't come into our area of interest. But other than that, I will catch you guys tomorrow. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. But if any of these trades do validate and do come back to entry, and I do see them as good trades, I'll send them out as official trades in the Discord. But other than that, I'll catch you guys tomorrow.